Welcome along, everybody. Welcome to the first round of the 100% League Season 3. And we are ready to get going very soon. There is your grid then for the 100% League. Starting off, of course, here in Australia tonight. Then looking forward to seeing how it's going to unfold. But there we go then. There is a look quickly at the teams and the lineups. And, of course, there's a few absentees already in this race. But we're waiting for them to get into lobby, hopefully. And we can get ourselves started then. So that is that then. But just waiting then for a couple more people to join, and then we can get ourselves cracking then for Australia round 1 then. But looking like a very nice lineup indeed then. Vintage and Styles in the Red Bull car then. Sick as Muck and moving in the Ferrari then. Ginger Rage is on the grid, and he is taking the McLaren alongside Serious Mushroom then. Ginner and Reflection in the Mercedes. We've got Lucas Percy and Evercio New Zealand Cam. I'm just going to call him Cam. But he's in the kick. They're both in the Kick Sauber, of course, potentially, supposedly the slowest car on the grid. But we'll have to wait and see. Then Farf and Vessia in the Alpine, looking good in pink then. And Gamer and Keys, or Speed Kai, as we'll see in the lobby then, in the Haas. Then Kiki and Kamara Racer in the Racing Bulls car. Then Gordo and R2Beat in the Aston Martin. And finally, Equaz and Coupe in the Williams. So that is the line then to start us off then for this season. Then we are going to get going, I think, because we're waiting on 2 people and they haven't bothered to show up. So there we go then. We will get ourselves started. Yeah, unfortunately, there's 2 people who haven't bothered turning up, so they will be in the bad books already then. We've got ourselves a short qualifying then, and 58 laps of the Australian Grand Prix coming up to you very shortly indeed. Let me just get the stream up, and we can get ourselves underway, I think. So good stuff indeed then. Cracking on then for the first round of the season. Farfa said good evening, and we have also got evening all from Vintage. Ginger Rage, of course, is and Donna the Donza said hello and good luck. Then Sean for the win, says Kiki. I don't know if that's going to be right. I hope not, for our sake, because that could be very dangerous indeed. If I don't win, we riot, says Ginger Rage. Then right, good stuff indeed. He is in the McLaren, though. It's the second quickest car, so we'll have to wait and see. Of course, the order has changed as well. Then we will get ourselves now into the lobby. Yeah, like I said, the order has changed slightly as well. Then so the Red Bull car is, of course, the fastest, followed by the McLaren, then followed by the Ferrari, then followed by Mercedes. Then we've got somebody else, and then we've got somebody else all the way down to Kick Sauber, who is the slowest. But there you go then. So that is the wonderful order then. If you couldn't tell, I'm already, I think I might have got COVID. I'll give it my best shot through this round. Fingers crossed we can get ourselves through this race. We will have to wait and see. There we go then, loading into the lobby. The first lobby, of course, of Season 3. And we can get ourselves started then on to the qualifying, of course, then. We've got 18 drivers on the grid, though, because, of course, both the Ferraris have not bothered turning up. Then Moomin Ninja and Sick as Muck, I will name and shame. But there we are. So, good stuff indeed, then. Gordo said, bonjour, folks. Hope everyone is well and had... and good luck. You can tell I'm not well. Good luck, then, for the drivers, then, who are taking to the grid, I should say, then, taking to the race, then, for this first round of Season 3. And we've got a Mercedes heading out there straight away then. I think that is Ginner then. He is already on track then, and away he goes then. Of course, Australia is, the 100% league is ahead by a week then compared to the 3 main divisions. And this is why, because we're getting a bit of a preview then of the 100% league then for the 3 rounds to come then for gold, silver and bronze then starting on Sunday for gold. But of course, we will be heading to, where are we heading to? I think it's Japan next week then for 100% league, so it's going to be exciting times then, having Japan so much earlier on in the calendar as well then, which is fantastic in my personal opinion. It's a very nice circuit indeed, but we're going to be not worrying about Japan for the time being. We are worrying about Australia, and I don't think we've got too much to worry about, because these drivers then are going to be flying around this circuit then very quickly indeed. Then 16 minutes left of qualifying as we get ourselves lined up then for the start of the grid, or start of the race, I should say. Right. Goodness me. Fantastic stuff right there. Whilst we have a nice quiet outlap then for Gino, we can get ourselves rolling then in this race then. Like I said, it's going to be an 18-minute short qualifying format then for the 100% league, same as it was last season, and then we'll be into the 100% distance Grand Prix itself then. So roughly about an hour and 25, hour and 30 minutes or so of a race, that is. It's a long race indeed then, of course, double the 50% races that we do in gold, silver and bronze, if you hadn't noticed. But of course, full distance then for 100%, which is why it's so interesting to watch and spectate on, of course, because there is all that can happen, there's plenty that can happen, and of course you can adapt everything on the fly, as you can really change the strategy around throughout the races. We've seen quite a lot of strategy developments then already in the 50% races, then we might see quite a lot of chopping and changing then in the 100% races, especially as well. Then Jinner then flying through sector 2 then on his first flying lap, then the first flying lap then of the season as well then for everybody, and we are going to see what he can do then here into the chicane. Purple of course in sector 1 then. Medium compound tyres for the Mercedes, and maybe doesn't fancy the soft compound for the time being as we go down towards sector 3 now. The car pointed in the right direction was Jinner was saying then in the Discord then earlier, so hopefully he can do that in this race and in this qualifying as well then. Round the final couple of corners then to finish off the lap for the Mercedes team. Let's see what Jinner can do then as he comes up to the line then. DRS and ERS on the money then up towards the checkered flag, well not the checkered flag, the finish line, and it's a 17-0 then for the Mercedes to set ourselves underway here in qualifying for the first round of the season as well then. Vintage flying through into sector 2, then we'll come back to him because I think we've got a Ginger Rage on circuit, then blimey, that's dangerous stuff indeed. Then he is coming through the final corner then I think to start off a lap here as away goes the McLaren, then good stuff indeed. R2 beats to start a lap, then same for Kamara Racer. No Kamara Racer is coming up to the line then. Ginger Rage has done a 21.6 then to start his qualifying campaign off. A 16.9 for Kamara Racer in the Racing Bulls, then puts himself P1 for the time being as well then. Great stuff indeed. We've had New Zealand Cam retire in the pit lane I think then, so New Zealand Cam then in the kick Sauber then. The slowest car on the grid then is not going to be taking part in qualifying here in this first event. We will have to wait and see then if he can get himself into the race without retiring. Hopefully that is the big question. That's the big challenge, isn't it? To try and get yourself to the end of the race. Eventually jump into a P3 then, a 20.4 for the Red Bull car. Good stuff indeed from him. We will see what he can do then in the latter stages of qualifying as well. 13 minutes remain here. Hello from Lucas Percy as well. He is of course the teammate of Cam in the Kick Sauber here in the 100% league. Gordon then coming through sector 2 now. We'll have a look and see where the rest of the field is. I think we've got Kiki coming round the final couple of corners as well in the other Racing Bull car. Can he rival his teammate of Camaro for that pole position? We'll see what he can do here. Up to the line then for Kiki, and it is pole position then with a 16.6 and almost 3 tenths faster than his teammate. That is fantastic stuff indeed then from Kiki. Ginger Rage is back in the pit lane then, so he is cruising back to the box then for McLaren. He has done a dusting in qualifying, in his first run of qualifying, with compound tyres. So that is him finished for the first outing then. Still 12 minutes for Ginger Rage to get himself back out of the pit lane and back underway. So good stuff from him. Sean for the win. Like I said, that would be dangerous for all of us. But there we go then. Gorda coming through the penultimate corners. Then here he comes in the Aston Martin. Of course, he races in silver in the Aston Martin and did a good job in Saudi Arabia then on Monday. Then up into P4, then just ahead of his teammate with a 17.2 then for Gorda. Good stuff indeed. Like I was saying, yes, he did a good job then for the Aston Martin in silver in Saudi Arabia. Then got himself a P6 then just ahead of his teammate in that one as well then, which was Jay Hings then. Speed car up into P3 with a 17.0. That is looking good indeed for the Haas driver. Then he is on form here tonight then. Fantastic stuff. Vintage up into P6, splits the two Aston Martins for the time being as well then. I think he's on another push lap then, is Vintage as well then, so he's flying around again. Is the Red Bull car, then we'll come back to him. No, we won't, we will stay with him I think, because we're already coming through the final stages of the laps then for everybody else then who is out on track. Then here comes the Red Bull car then through sector 2, which is pretty much now a straight line. Well, not a straight line, it's pretty much a kink line, but there you go. Very kinky indeed. But now towards the chicane then, he is up by almost a 10.5 then into the second sector. And let's see what he can do now into the final sector as well then, flying down towards this heavy braking zone, making sure he gets the braking point right on the money. And yes, he has done very well indeed. Then here comes Vintage. Then can he improve even further? Then can he get himself into P6? Then can he get himself further than P6? We'll have to wait and see then round the final couple of corners then for the Red Bull car. He is going great guns indeed. Then round the final corner then DRS and ERS on the money then up to the line. Let's see what he can do. And it is an improvement, but he stays P7 for the time being. Then 18.4 for Vintage in P7. Unfortunately for him then, I've got to try and compose myself. But here comes somebody who doesn't need to compose himself. He has got himself in the kicks out, but then he is flying through sector 2, then in that green machine, and now down towards sector 3, then heavy braking, then locking up the inside right then as well. Then the smoke still not dissipating in the background there, but there we are. That's they're locking up the left front this time as well, then into the penultimate corner, then finally round the final corner. No locking up this time, but let's see what he can do then on the power. Then DRS once again. Then here comes Lucas Percy up to the line. What's it going to be? It's a 17-1, puts himself P5 for the time being. His first run, of course, in this qualifying session, then, and that is him done and dusted then for his first run. Then, but there's still time for another attempt. Then Gorda then is just over his previous best by 36 thousandths of a second. Then as we go into sector 3 now for the Aston Martin driver, then R2 beat down in P7. Vintage is cruising back to the pit lane in P8 then, and we've got Coupe back out on circuit as well. Then Williams will come back to him. Will we come back to him? Where is he? I don't know which car is which. Around this circuit, they're all blue. But no, we'll come back to Gordo, who's had a spin then in sector 3, just trying to get himself off the circuit, then out of the way of the cars coming through. And I think that is where Coupe's going to be coming through then very shortly. Yes, he is. There is the Williams car then coming through the final corner now. And let's see what Coupe's first attempt of qualifying of the season is going to be then in the Williams car. Then up to the line, it's a 20, it's a 17.126. Puts himself P5 just ahead of Lucas Percy by 600ths of a second then. Good stuff indeed. Their Ginner is up into P2. Then he's split the two racing bulls as it stands, and looking good in the Mercedes end for the time being. On the front row of the grid then a 16.9. Then only 3 drivers into the 16.9 so far, and 2 of them are Racing Bull drivers. Looking good then for Team Racing Bull. Then here comes Equaz flying through the chicane, almost losing the back end then as he gets on the power very early on, then coming down towards the heavy braking zone, then into sector 3, then on the money then once again then for the Williams car. Then he's got a bit of a traffic ahead of him. I think there's a Mercedes ahead of him. Hopefully that gets out of the way, or gets on a lap then, that is. But either way, good stuff indeed. Then here he comes then into the final couple of quarters then for the Williams car, then getting a nice little slipstream I think then as I think Don of the Dons just starts off on his flying lap. Then Equaz up into P2 with a 16.728 then for the Williams car. Great stuff indeed. He's only just less than 10th away from pole position as it stands. Keep going back out on another lap though, but Equaz then looking strong then in the Williams car, of course. Got P3 in the shorter season, the 15-round season, last iteration of the 100% league, and he has got himself, of course, a P3 then in that season as well. Then we'll see what he can do then in this one. But looking strong then to start off his season so far then in this first round of qualifying. Then good stuff. Hungry Styles is on circuit. Hungry Styles is up to the line. Then let's see what the Red Bull driver can do. Can he beat his teammate? Then no, he can't. It's a very close indeed between the Red Bull drivers though. An 18.4 between the pair of them, and currently P10 and P11 respectively as it stands. Then Ginger Rage is back out on circuit. Watch out everybody, there's a Ginger Rage on circuit. It's going to be terrifying, treacherous and everything. Lucas Percy improves to P3 at 16.8 then for the Kick Sauber car. Then that's much better indeed then for Lucas Percy. Then on to the second row of the grid as it stands. Kiki's gone purple in sector 2. Time starting to tumble in. Here comes Don the Dons then through the final couple of quarters as well. Then in the Mercedes for his first run here in qualifying. Let's see what he can do then to open his account here in the qualifying stages. Then up to the line, it's P10 then for Don the Dons, then into the top 10, into the points pairing positions for the Mercedes driver. Good stuff indeed. So far it's been pretty epic then. Oh my goodness me, there's Ginger Rage. That is terrifying stuff indeed. And he's coming through the penultimate corner now. Then Kiki's gone faster still with a 16.444. And here comes Ginger Rage, and he is flying. Look at the McLaren go. They're down towards the line. What's it going to be then for Ginger Rage? It is an improvement of 2.7 seconds, but he stays P14 for the time being, right behind the Red Bull pair of Hungry Styles and Vintage. That's him done and dusted in his second attempt at qualifying, but again, still 6 minutes left of the session. Still time for Ginger Rage to get himself back onto the back into the order, I suppose you could say, back into the top 10. There we go. The X Gamer then coming through. Then there's a car just getting out of the way of an Alpine. I think that is Vest here and Mushroom still in the pit lane then. So that is them done and dusted. My controller is vibrating. Great. So, well, that feels very nice indeed. Well, I shouldn't say that, but there we go. Farf then is on a lap, I think. No, he's not. I'm not quite sure what he's doing then. He's racing a Racing Bull then in sector 2 then, but he has got himself up into P10 with a 17.3. That is good stuff indeed, into the top 10 for the time being then for the Alpine. Only one Alpine to set a time so far then, and that is Farf then. Vest here not out of the pit lane just yet. So he is going to be stuck in that box then for the time being. Then Donald's back into the pit lane, then Farfar going back to the pits as well. Then Gordo's on medium compound tyres. So interesting stuff indeed. Then Ginger Age, I think, making his way back to the box as well. And Gamer is coming up to the line. Let's see what Gamer can do in the Haas. Up to the line for Gamer, and he's on P11 and a 17.8 then for the Haas driver. Good start indeed then. Evening all, and go on the Ginger, says Mushroom then. Goodness me, that is, like I said, very, very scary stuff indeed, and watching Ginger Age on circuit. He has made his way back to the pit then safely enough, which is good stuff indeed then. And into the box he goes then in the McLaren. Then I think a bit of a lull now in qualifying then as the drivers prepare for their final runs then of the first session then in the 100% League Season 3. But here comes Ginger then. Ginger coming through Sector 2 then. Not much ERS left to play with him, but let's see what he can do then into Sector 3. He's a 10th up on his time, then that will put him in the range then of potentially the front row if he can keep the improvement then going through the final sector now in towards Sector 3. We go then for the Mercedes driver then, keeping the car pointed in the right direction like I was saying in the first run then. It was his main aim in this race then. So far so good then for Ginger then, but we're going through into the penultimate corner now for the Mercedes driver. Let's see what he can do. Can he improve then on a 16.9? As it stands then, he is P4. He's on the second row of the grid. Can he get himself onto the front row? Can he get himself on pole position here? We will wait and see then, and it's close indeed. It's P2 for the time being. A 16.5 then puts himself onto the front row of the grid then very nicely indeed, just ahead of Equaz and Lucas Percy. Then Kamara Racer is back out on circuit as well. Then he is racing through Sector 2. Then he is a 10.5 up then. Again, that could displace Lucas Percy and Equaz as well then, if he can keep it all together then through Sector 3. And once again, they are really putting the times in this time in qualifying now. They are tumbling down in this qualifying session here as we go into the penultimate corner then for car number 69. No puns intended, or no, yeah. There we go. Kamara Racer then up to the line. Let's see what he can do then. Here he comes then in the Racing Bull, and it's a 16.6 then, puts himself P3 ahead of Equaz and Lucas Percy for the time being, and then on to the second row of the grid as well then. So both the Racing Bulls are looking racy indeed here in qualifying. Fantastic stuff indeed then for Kiki and for Kamara Racer as it stands. Then Hungry Styles is back out on circuit as well. Then Hungry Styles is a 10th up in the first sector. That will put him ahead of his teammate of course, but it wouldn't improve his position any further than P13. Can he improve even more than through into Sector 2? Let's see what the Delta is saying then as we cross the line into Sector 3. Then 2.5 tenths I should say is the improvement then for Hungry Styles. It's coming down then very quickly indeed then for the Red Bull driver then, looking good indeed then as he comes into Sector 3 now. And of course there's a lot of ERS regeneration then going on this lap as well, as your heavy braking zone then into Sector 3, and that has helped him gain quite a lot of ERS back as well as we go into the penultimate corner now for Hungry Styles. I think this might be his last attempt here in qualifying. I don't think he's going to have that time to come back round and go back out again then, but here he comes then up to the line then. ERS in play then up to the checkered line, and it's P12 then. He has improved to a 17.8 then, a fantastic improvement of 6.5 tenths then for Hungry Styles. Brilliant stuff. P12 then, right behind X Gamer now in the Haas car, and good stuff indeed. Vintage is on circuit. Vintage is 4.5 tenths up on his time as well then. Both the Red Bulls are flying in the final run here in this qualifying session then. Aston Martin just getting out of the way there, and thankfully that is that then sorted and done your bits, says Farf then. I'm not quite sure what that means, but there we go then. Fantastic stuff indeed then. Vintage then coming through the final couple of corners then into turn number 15 I think it is. There's too many turns around these circuits these days. I can't keep count, but he has improved then up into P13, right behind his teammate again this time, but this time roles reversed then. 5.5 tenths improvement then for Vintage. Great stuff indeed then, puts himself P13 for the time being. RTB just starting off a lap then. He's forgotten to turn his ERS on though, so never mind. Lucas Percy is back up on circuit as well then, but he has also forgotten to turn his ERS on, so maybe they're doing 2 out laps here then potentially then to warm up the tyres before the final run of qualifying. And Hungry Styles coming back to the pit lane. I think he's done and dusted in qualifying here. The same potentially for Vintage then. Ginger Rage is back out on circuit as well then. He's on the soft compound tyres. He is on a flying lap. Here is Ginger Rage then, currently the slowest of the time runners. Then Vessier is out on circuit this time. Finally he's got himself out of the box and away. Ginger Rage then, can he improve by 8 tenths of a second? Knock Don the Dons off his perch then in P14. We will have to wait and see. Here he comes then up to Sector 2 then. Let's see what the Delta is saying then. He's improving, but he's not improving by enough then to take away that position from Don of the Dons. Then into the chicane we go then, and I think he's backed off there. He's backed off then, has Ginger Rage, and he's decided to abandon. No, he hasn't. Goodness me, what is he up to? Where is he going? There he is. But yes, goodness me, he is all over the place. So there we go then, good stuff indeed. Yeah, hopefully that's not going to be the same for the race then as well, but we will figure it out. Vintage then back in the pit lane, sorry, Hungry Stars back in Vintage is off the circuit then, so I'm not quite sure where he's going. But nonetheless, we can hopefully get himself back to the pit lane then. Hungry Stars is in the pits as well. Ginger Rage then is coming up to, I think, start off another lap here. Yes, he is going again then, is Ginger Rage. He's got enough time on the board then just to start off another lap. But the ERS and the fuel might be a worry now for the McLaren driver. We'll come back to him then as we've got a few other drivers then crossing the, starting the, oh my goodness me, sorry, we've missed Kiki then take a pole position. Oh dear. He's also gone in the wall then. But he is currently on pole position. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there for Kiki then. Maybe he was overjoyed and he crashed. Kamara Racer has not come out of the pit lane, so Kamara Racer unfortunately is not going to improve on P3 then. Serious Mushrooms is retired then, and Coop at turn 1, so he has gone straight on turn 1 as Coop. So that is interesting. Goodness me. Alright then, so there we go. Aston Martin then coming up to the line, then it's Gordo. Gordo's improved to P3. There was 16.6 then for Gordo. Great stuff indeed then. On to the second row of the grid then for Aston Martin, of course, last season's champion. I should say, I completely forgot to say it earlier on, but last season's champion, of course, then Gordo, then very consistent throughout the season as well. Then let's see what Lucas Percy can do then. Lucas Percy up to the line, it's a 16.5, puts himself P2 as it stands then. I thought we had somebody else jump up the order as well, but not quite. Then Farth then stays P10, then Don the Don's P11, then Gamer is back in the pit lane, so he's starting from P12. Then Ginger Age has not improved and stays, he has improved, but he stays P15 for the time being. Unfortunately for Cam and Serious Russian, they couldn't get themselves out of the pit lane. Here comes Equaz, he's invalidated his time then. Cooper's lost his front wing, then here comes Speed Kai, then round the final couple of corners then. We will watch what the Haas driver can do then into the final turn, then around the final turn we go, then DRS and ERS on the money, then up to the line. What can he do? Can he improve on a 17.0? Yes, he can. Then it's P4 for Speed Kai. Great stuff indeed then. Up into the second row of the grid then. Brilliant stuff indeed then. Unfortunately, Vessia then has not got a time on the board either then, but he has crossed the line then. He has finished his qualifying then. Coop, I don't think is going to be improving then. He has lost his front wing then. And Kiki is the opposite then for the first race of the season then by, what is that, 36 thousandths of a second then to Jinnah. But a fantastic qualifying lead for Kiki in the Racing Bulls. Then he's got himself on pole position here in Australia then. Vintage has gifted a membership as well then. Fantastic stuff indeed then from Vintage. Thank you very much to our top donator I should say then, Vintage, and he is an absolute legend, is the Red Bull driver then. He is down in P14 then, but hopefully he can get himself through in this race then. Unfortunately no Ferraris in this Grand Prix, as I'll tap the mic when they might. But like I said, unfortunately no Ferraris in this Grand Prix because they couldn't be bothered to turn up. So here we go then. Fantastic stuff indeed. Could have got 16.2, says Kiki, but 16.4 will do. There we are then. Cost myself pole with a massive tank slapper, says Lucas Percy. I think Lucas Percy could get himself on the second row of the grid, if I'm not mistaken, but we will have to look at the classification very shortly. But there we are then. Kiki then pole position then for the Australian Grand Prix. 58 laps to unfold in front of our very eyes very shortly. Jinnah on the front row as well then in P2 in the Mercedes. Then Lucas Percy P3 in the slowest car on the grid. Pretty good stuff indeed. Speed Kai, fantastic performance in P4. Then Gordo P5 as well. Great stuff from him. Kamara Racer didn't go out in the final run then. He stays P6. Then Equaz P7. R2 beat P8. Coop P9. And Favre rounds off the top 10 then. Don the Dons in P11. Gamer in P12. Hungry Styles and Vintage P13 and 14. Ginger Rage in P15. And unfortunately for Cam, Vessia and Mushroom, they forgot to get a time on the board. So that is that. Right then, here we go then, just waiting for the drivers to sort their strategies out. I'm sure there's going to be quite a lot of... Oh, no, there isn't. I thought there was going to be quite a lot of strategic planning and that sort of stuff going on, but nope, we're ready to get going. Good stuff indeed then. Right then, from the back of the grid, we will start then. We've got a racing ball on pole position, but we've got a McLaren on the back of the grid and a serious mushroom on the medium tyres in the McLaren. Vesser then P17 on the medium compound tyres, didn't get time in qualifying, unfortunately for him. Same for Cam in the kick Sauber, then medium compounds for the green machine. Then we've got, I think there's a problem then, but it's a green flag in the background. Ginger Rage then on the medium compound tyres in P15 then, so looking forward to seeing what Ginger Rage can do in his first 100% race here. Vintage then P14 on the medium compound, then Hungry Styles P14 as well, P13. They're not sharing the same place. They are sharing the same row on the grid though, but Hungry Styles then on the medium compound tyres. So that is the bottom six then, they're on the medium compound tyres here. Gamer has been disqualified, he's on the hard compound tyres. Donald the Dons in P11 on the soft compound tyres as well then. Just outside the top 10 then. Into the top 10 we've got Favre in the Alpine, P10 on the hard compound tyres. Coupe on the mediums in the Williams in P9. R2B in the Aston Martin on the mediums as well, P8. Equaz is the Sam, or the bread in the Aston Martin, the Williams Sam, as I say then, on the seventh place on the grid, I should say then, on the medium compound tyres. Kamara Racer didn't get a final lap in qualifying. He is P6 on the mediums as well. Same for Gordo in P5 in the Aston Martin. Speed cars up with the soft compound tyres on the second row of the grid in P4 then. Favre's been disqualified from the formation lap as well then. Speed car then looking for a fast start then. Some hard compound tyres for Lucas Percy in P3 in the kick Sauber then. Ginner has also opted for the hard compound tyres in P2. So might be going for a longer stint than in the first stint of this race. Then Kiki is opting for the medium compound tyres from pole position, but he's been disqualified as well. So there we go. Right then, we're ready to get ourselves started for the Grand Prix here. 58 laps, as we've got. I don't think many people can park up on the. It doesn't look like anybody can park up on the grid, but there we go. Hopefully, we get a better camera angle than this, but at least we'll be able to see when the lights go on. Oh, yep, that one's beeping. Blimey, that's loud. 5 red lights are on then, and we'll have a look and see what the situation is going on for the field up front then. Yeah, the 5 red lights are out in Australia then, and away we go then for Season 3 of the 100% League into Turn 1, and there's a, oh my goodness, there's contact. There's a racing ball flying off the field as well then. What's happened to Kamara Racer? Then he's gone straight on then at almost straight on at turn 1. Then Speed Kai is dropping down the field as well. Then there's an issue then for Speed Kai in the Haas as well. Then goodness me, I didn't know. I don't think they realise that it's a 58 lap race. To be fair, they just decided to put the foot to the floor and go for it, which can be good. It can be bad, but nevertheless, there we go then. Gamer and Cam then battling away then into turn 6 then, and there's the contact between the Haas and the Sauber as well. Ginger Rage is up into P11, then we'll have a look at the position changes as well. There's chaos there, because, blimey, they've just decided to go for it, and yeah, I don't think they've realised that it's 100% rated. But there we go then, Vintage is being passed by Mushroom, and Kamara Racer has dropped down the back of the field after losing out then from the race start. Then not quite sure what happened to Kamara Racer then, but he's starting to get himself back underway then. In towards Sector 3 we go then, and there's a lock-up for New Zealand Cam. He's gone spinning around then on his own, I think then, and dropping down to the back of the field as well then, unfortunately for him. Kamara Racer looks like he's got his front wing intact then, so I think it was just a spin at turn 1 that cost him dearly, but he has got himself back underway now, and hopefully he can get himself back in this race as well. Same for New Zealand Cam then, who have just has just locked up then and cost the good start then for his Kick Sauber team as well then, unfortunately. Out in front, Kiki leads away from Lucas Percy. DRS now enabled then, but of course they haven't detected the DRS just yet because it's at the end of the lap. Ginger Rage has got a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings already on lap 2, and that is what you call pushing hard then for Ginger Rage. He was flying out there. He's up 2 places then, right behind his teammate now of Serious Mushroom then as we go through into lap 2 as well. Then DRS now available then for those who are within 1 second of the car ahead as we cross into sector 2 now. So far, so good then as we get ourselves into lap 2. Then DRS now available for Lucas Percy, I think, as we fly down towards the chicane for the second attempt here as well. Then 58 laps, like I said, Kamara Racer picks up a 3-second penalty here as well. Then the penalty starting to roll in here already then as Donald the Nonce has been passed by Vessia and Speed Car as we go into the chicane. This is going to get tight indeed. There's contact between the Mercedes and the Haas as we go through, and I think Donald the Nonce has spun round and he's got himself back underway. That might have some wing damage then for, yes, he has got a right end plate missing then on the Mercedes, unfortunately for him. Kamara Racer is back underway. Then Gamer's got himself past Ginger Age in the into sector 3 then. Ginger Age is fighting back though. Look at him go then, all on the grass then for Ginger Age, then same for Gamer as well on the exit though. As we go into the penultimate corner, then Gamer's locking up, then he's having an issue then, unfortunately for the Haas driver, then Ginger Age all on the back of him as we go on to lap 3. Now let's have a look at this Ginger Age battle, because it can get spicy indeed then. Both the Red Bulls have lost out then, but here comes Ginger Age on the attack then, in towards turn 1 then. Can he make the move? Not quite, then he's stay on board, he's gone wide at turn 1 then, going back on the circuit here and there then, and now he's flying down towards turn 3 then. Can he get Gamer in towards the heavy braking zone of turn 3? He's too far back then to make the move, but he stays behind for the time being then. Goodness gracious, I should say. Ginner has lost out. Ginner had a problem there somewhere. I completely missed it as well then, but he's down 5 places, then down to P7, then right in this train then for the lead. Then all the top 8 are so far in this queue then for P1. It looks like they're all DRS training themselves down towards the chicane once again. Then Vessia is under pressure now from Speed Car, then in towards the chicane. Then the Haas is ahead. Then Farfa's lost out to Ginner. They're going to go side by side through the chicane, which is not where a traditional overtaking place. And as we can tell, it's quite dangerous to try and attempt an overtake round there, as Speed Car has got himself ahead of Ginner now as well. Then into sector 3, then the Alpine of Vessia all over the back room as well. Then Hungry Styles has retired, and it's a big smash for Hungry Styles. Then he has lost the car then in a very odd place as well then. So that is Hungry Styles out of the race. Then Donald Zons can use this safety car to get himself back into the race. Then will we see any pit stops? Then Farfa's in the box. Then Farfa's calling it a day then already. So is Speed Car. Then Ginger Maid has got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car, and that is going to be very bad news for the race. And unfortunately, he's going to have to serve that drive-through after the rest of the field has crossed the safety car across the line. Then to start off, green flag running once again. Then, but goodness me, then like I said, I think fair play. It's the opening round of the season, but yeah, I think a few drivers need to just calm it down. And we've got some vibrating controller going on then with the pit stop here. Fantastic stuff indeed. Hungry Stars has left the session then after a P5 in Saudi Arabia last night, then in bronze. Wasn't able to follow that up then here in Australia then for the 100% league, the opening round of the season. Then we've already got one retirement on lap 3 and a safety car on lap 3 as well. Then fantastic. Right then. Well, now we just sit and wait. Safety car is out, and we've got to wait a couple of laps now before the safety car goes back in, and we can get ourselves back to the race. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to make it in this case. I'm starting to struggle with it. But the COVID has to go away for the time being. Then we have got to power through to lap 58 at least. So there we go then. But yeah, I am very sweaty already then. Good stuff so far then for Kiki. Then he's held on to his lead then at the opening stages of the Grand Prix on the medium compound tyres. Lucas Percy has done a great job on those hard compound tyres to keep. He's actually improved his pace then from P3 up into P2 then right on the back then of the Racing Bull of Kiki. So good stuff so far for Lucas Percy. Then Cordo in P3. Good stuff from the Aston Martin as well. Then both the Williams looking strong in P4 and P5 respectively as well. Then on the same strategy though, then they might have to figure out a strategy to get themselves into the box then very shortly. Eckhart's then looking to dummy into the pit lane, but not quite then. Deciding against it then for the time being. RTB is in P6 and he is on the medium compound tyres as well then. We've got pit activity for Ginger Rage and he's in the box then. Unfortunately can't serve his drive-through penalty, but he is going to be able to serve to make a pit stop, I should say then. Again, vibrating in the pit box, so that is very nice indeed. If you want to make, yeah, if you want to do stuff with your controller, make sure that it's when Donald has gone past him. Ginger Rage is back out then in P17, but he's on a fresh set of hard compound tyres. I think a good strategy then from Ginger Rage then, because he knows he's got to serve that drive through. Then when the safety car comes in, he's going to go on for the hard compound tyres and go long in the next stint then to try and make up the gap then to the rest of the field. Then after the safety car has peeled away back into the pits, I think it'll be in at the end of this lap. Then we can get ourselves resumed on lap 6. Brilliant stuff indeed. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I might, if you just hear a thud and it's just me falling over because I haven't survived this. But yeah, I'll do my best. We'll get to the checkered flag. Well, somebody will. So there we go. Unfortunately for Kamara and for Ginger Age, they both picked up 3-second penalties in the opening stages of this race so far. Safety car is in this lap, so we'll be back underway then at the end of lap 5 on to lap 6. Yeah, unfortunately for Kamara and for Ginger Age, they both picked up 3-second penalties then at the beginning of this race then, so that will be added onto their race times. We might see a few other drivers pick up penalties as the race unfolds, of course. It is a very easy circuit to pick up penalties, especially with track limits around this circuit. Then Lucas Percy weaving around, then that is dangerous stuff indeed. And for Lucas Percy, then I think he's ghosted as well. So, goodness me. Right then, Kiki then is going to lead us away then on the restart, and we can get ourselves cracking then for lap 6. Only lap 6, then still 50 laps or 52 laps or so to go after this one. Safety car is just peeling away back into the box now as well then. When can Kiki unleash the hammer? When will he unleash the hammer then? As we go round the penultimate, round the final corner I should say then. He's not gone just yet then, so he's staying true, but he's now got to go before the checkered flag, before the start-finish line then. And Lucas Percy has not been caught out. Same for Gorda as well, then flying through into turn 1, and both of them in close proximity to the race leader. Then we go on to lap 6 here as well. Then everyone flying through. Then Ginger Age is staying out. He's not serving his drive-through penalty just yet. In the McLaren then, as we go through turn 3 now, then there's more movement for Vessia and for Gina. Then there's contact between the Mercedes and the Alpine as we go through turn 4, and again Vessia trying to avoid, then into turn 5. Then again, this is not an overtaking position or place, I should say. It's close indeed between the Mercedes and the Alpine as we go through turn 6, and goodness me, there's contact through turn 6 as well. Then there's serious mushroom involved as well. Then Gamer's gone through, Farf has gone through, all sorts of action has gone through. And blimey, that was all stemmed from Vessia and Gina then going side by side then into turns 4, 5 and 6, wasn't it? My goodness me then. Like I said, not factoring in that it's 100% racing, but there we go. What do I know? Of course, to be fair, I did race lots of times. I used to start my career maybe 100% races. As blimey, New Zealand Cam diving down the inside on serious mushroom. Then I think Cam and hopefully Styles were involved in the incident that caused that safety car as well, according to Styles. So yeah, looks like Cam is not in good books in for the time being with the Rebels and the Pams as well. DRS re-enabled now as we go on to lap 7. Then everybody is in the DRS train then for the time being, as Ginger Age is in the box now serving that drive-through penalty. He has got a nice pink helmet though, as Gamer picks up a 3-second penalty as well. Then track limits then for Gamer as well in the Haas P9 for the time being. Then of course plenty of laps to unfold here, so there's going to be plenty of laps to over 3 seconds and to his rivals around him as well. And on the hard compound tyres of course. So he is going to be looking to go long in this first stint. The same as Gino, the same as Percy. Potentially the same for Speed, Kai and New Zealand Cam as well. Now Ginger Age then has served that drive-through penalty and flying back out on circuit. But like I said, there's now hoping for a safety car or something to catch up to the back of the field once again then. But potentially, we've already seen one. We've seen a change for the lead as well. Then here comes Gorno, here comes Lucas Percy. Then they've got themselves past Kiki into the chicane to go. And Kiki down from the race lead then into P3. After 2 double DRS overtakes then for Gordo and for Lucas Percy. Then Lucas Percy now takes the lead into lap 7. Then Far from Gamer then switching places then into sector 3. And just about leaving enough room then for Far. Then Serious Mushroom local circuit. Then oh my goodness me, then what's happening in the background? Then New Zealand Cam trying to go down the inside. Then oh my god. And Kamara Racer takes the opportunity as well. Then past Serious Mushroom then into the penultimate quarter. Goodness gracious. Fantastic stuff indeed. Then good clean race in the end as well. Gordo then has got himself into P2 then after making that double move, I suppose you could say. Both of them getting past Kiki then down the back straight, then a very long back straight. Gino picks up a penalty then for multiple warnings as well. Then the penalty starting to roll in like I was saying, and this is where it gets dangerous stuff indeed for the penalty situation. Then hard compound tires for Lucas Percy. Can the medium compound tires get themselves through and try and scamper off in the distance for Gordo? They haven't been able to scamper off then for Kiki then, but we'll have to wait and see who is going to do what then in this Grand Prix. As Gamer's had an issue, then Gamer's had a problem, then down in P15 he's got front wing damage as well, both end plates missing for Gamer. Not quite sure what's happened there. Then for the Haas driver, then he's got himself back underway. Then Ginger Age is going to be hoping for a safety car here. Out in front then we've got Gordo taking the lead of the Grand Prix. Then into P1 then for the Aston Martin. Then dropping down to P2 is Lucas Percy for the time being, that is. But I think he's going to be back on the charge and very shortly on that Aston Martin. And he's not going to be relinquishing the lead for too long. So we've had Speed High leaking fast, dropping down the order. Vessio's off the circuit, then adds sector 3. Goodness me, then trying to get himself back on then, and that is not good news for Vintage. Oh my god, and flying through there at high speed then with a Alpine that's trying to get himself back underway then is not a sight you want to see then for Vintage for sure. But he has got himself back underway. Gordo's got the fastest lap of the race then, but Lucas Percy is stuck with him here out in front. No, sorry, not out in front, then down the back of the field. Then we've got Gamer in the pit lane. There's the Gamer calling it a day then on those hard combat cars. We've got a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane for Gamer then, and pit and quit as well. Brilliant stuff indeed. Fantastic start to the season for Gamer. Goodness gracious. Well, yeah, I mean, there's Kiki's had a spin. Kiki's had a problem then in the racing ball. Then he was formerly the race leader. The pole sitter here as well, out of turn 4. Then has had an issue and has spun around. Then he's down to P14, but getting himself back underway quickly enough then. But unfortunately for Kiki, then dropping out of P3 and down to P14 as Gordo has relinquished the lead. Then Lucas Percy with DRS has got himself back up into the race lead onto lap 9 as well here. And like I was saying, a lot of people forgetting that it's a 100% race, I think there. So there we go. Great stuff indeed then. And yeah, we will be sorting this out, I think, after this race then, because yeah, most of the people don't want to bother. Sure. Yeah, I mean, why should I? Because to be fair, I'm feeling like that, and I've got a so yeah, there we are. New Zealand Cameron's got to pass Vessia then for P9, and yeah, it's basically like, what's the point of even bothering, to be honest? Right then, Lucas Percy sets the fast lap of the race. Then great stuff from Percy on to lap 10 then of 58. And of course, Lucas Percy knows how to race 100% race because he is consistent and he doesn't get himself involved in useless incidents. There we go then, Gordo and Edekas are staying with him. Then Cooper's dropped off the top 3 for the time being as he slides through turn 5 and turn 4 and turn 5. Great stuff indeed then for Coop. Then he's doing a good job then trying to keep up with his teammate now as well. R2B very strong so far in the Aston Martin. Then both the Aston Martin are looking good here. Gino has got himself back in the fight after that spin in the opening couple of laps. Then he's back into P6 now, fast in the queue. R2B is trying to go for the move then on Coop. Then there's a Mercedes trying to get himself in there as well then, blimey. And yeah, again, Gino then getting himself through then past Coop. Again, Coop, I think, just wisely, just not too bothered about that as R2 racer and Vintage switching places. Then Gordo has gone for the race lead into sector 3. He's gone deep though. No, he hasn't. He's got himself under control. Never mind. Fantastic stuff indeed then. Russian and Vintage switching places then in P12 and P13 respectively now as Gordo takes on the race lead. Here we go then into the final corner then to start off lap 11 here. And so far so good then for Gordo, for Lucas Percy, for Ekbaz, for R2B, and for Ginner, and for the top 8, I suppose you could say. Then everybody else has had problems already then in this race. So there we go then. Good stuff so far then for Lucas Percy then, who is now on the charge and down towards turn 3. Can he make a move for the race lead? He stays behind for the time being then, but Gordo, I think, again, looking like he's got some pretty good brake power then for Gordo, because he's flying into the braking zone then, still very deep then, very hot then into the braking zone then for Gordo, but he's keeping it under control just about, which is good to see. Speed Car's dropped off the back then of this battle then for the top 7 as it stands. He's got himself a bit of a gap then to the rest of the field. Then Cam then is not stuck behind Vessia then, he's stuck ahead of Vessia, but Vessia's got some DRS then to play with. Kamara Racer got himself up into P7 then, P11 I should say, then 7.5 million lead then into the game. And we've got more dropping and changing then. Serious much past Kamara then into P11, then Kiki is past Vintage and up into P13. Good stuff indeed. Ginger Age is 15 seconds off the back of the field. Then he's not too far off with that. After that drive-through penalty. There we go. Figured it out in the end finally. But yeah, great stuff indeed. Then so far so good. Then on to lap 12 now as well. Then we've got so many laps left to go. Try commentating for 2 hours and he got COVID. Yeah, but there we go. Yeah, Gordon then on the attack. Then here he goes down towards turn 3 and looking good so far. Then right on the money. Then into turn 4, not quite. Then he's almost sliding on the curb. But he kept it in P2. Going to excite Ekbaz then potentially to run the move for that P2 position. Then on the Aston Martin. Then R2B then is in the fold as well in the Aston Martin, looking good out here as well. Vessia then is all over the back of Neversio Cam losing Cam, sorry. What's going on here then? As Lucas Percy is well off the racing line then, and they're flying through. Look at them go. They're all attacking Lucas Percy in the kick salver. Then down to P4 is Lucas Percy, and the Aston Martin and the Williams fly through. And now from the lead of the race, then we thought when Gordo and Lucas Percy went past who was it? Went past Kiki. Then two of them in the DRS zone. That was pretty powerful. Then there's three of them gone past in the DRS zone, then down towards the chicane in sector 2. But there's two Aston Martins now into the podium places. Then Williams and Equaz then in that sandwich, and Lucas Percy has dropped down from P1 down to P4. But like I was saying, Lucas Percy knows what he's doing. He's playing the long game, and he's on the hard compound tyres as well, compared to those who've just overtaken him on the medium compound tyres. So there is still plenty to play for then, I think, for Lucas Percy. Then not all over just yet. Then he's still got a few laps to go if you couldn't tell. But so far so good. Out in front then, both the Aston Martins looking very strong here as well. We go into turn 3. My goodness me, I thought it was going to be carnage then, as we almost went into the back of everyone then. A bit of a concertina effect then into turn 3, but they have managed to avoid any collision, which is good. J Marks has said hello guys as well. Then welcome J Marks, of course a veteran racer, of course, is J Marks. You're always welcome to join us if you want to. You've got a Ferrari seat available, then not for this race, unfortunately, we've already started, but we can get you in the Ferrari then for the next race, which I think is Japan. Gordo's lost the lead, then Equaz up into P1, then with a fantastic overtake as well. DRS enabled then for the Williams car, and now into the lead of the Grand Prix. Then great stuff indeed then on those medium compound tyres. I think Gordo might be under pressure from his teammate as well then as we go into sector 3. Yes, he is. Then R2 Beat is ahead, and there's Ginner involved as well then. Oh my goodness me, there's what was going on there between the Aston Martin, not the Aston Martin, the Mercedes and the Kick Sauber. Goodness me. It's all anarchy then when Ginner's about, it looks like. So there we go, as we go on to the start finish straight on lap 13, 14 commencing now, and here comes Lucas Percy on the attack this time as well into turn 1. Then Ginner then goes deep on the brakes, and he goes wide as well at turn 1 and into turn 2, almost losing the car as well there. And that is going to unsight the, oh my goodness me, it's going to unsight the Mercedes. And Lucas Percy then covering off the move, then down the inside at turn 3, I should say, into turn 4, I should say now as well. And Lucas Percy takes the position away from the Mercedes driver and up into P4. My God, the battling there. I was saying Lucas Percy was keeping a calm head, but yeah, I think Ginner's wound him up a bit there. So there we go. Retaliation at its finest. There we are. So yeah. Goodness me. R2B takes the lead of the race then as we go through into sector 2 once again. R2B now into the race lead for the Aston Martin team. Both Aston Martins, I should say, have led the race at one point of this Grand Prix. Lucas Percy now has got Speed Kai for company. Of course, Speed Kai pitted under the first safety car, or the only safety car so far in this race, actually. But the only safety car so far in this race then, and he has gone for the 3-lap younger hard compound tyres. Favre with no penalty as well then, unfortunately Favre, that's his first penalty of the evening here, as we go into the final turn then to start off lap 15 then. Lucas Percy's back in the DRS train now as well then, so that is good news for the Kit Sauber car. Ginner down to P6 and Coop in P7, and like I said, Coop was overtaken very early on, but I think this is biding his time then as we've got an issue for Vintage. Then Vintage is off the circuit at the penultimate corner. He's lost the front wing. Ginner's picked up a penalty as well. Then Vintage trying to get himself back in the box. Then yes, he is back in the box now, as Ginger Age is going to be very happy with that then, because he can gain a place there as Ginger Age. But as we've got more problems then for Cam then through turn 3, and Serious Mushroom's going to go through into the top 10 now, into the points now for Mushroom. Good stuff indeed then. Vintage is coming out of the box now. He's been passed by Ginger Age. Vintage onto the hard compound tyres. That wing change might cost him. Then he's down to P16, unfortunately for Vintage, I should say, at this stage of the Grand Prix. J Max said, is it just PS? Yes, it is just PS then, because crossplay. So here we go. But here we are then in towards sector 3 now for Gordo. On the brakes then, not too late as well. Alpine switching places then, a bit of team orders going on down at Alpine potentially then, but 3 seconds for Camaro as well then. Unfortunately he just made a pit stop onto the hard compound tyres and trying to get himself back underway then. But yeah, both the Alpines then, unfortunately for Vessi is on the older tyres, so I would have thought some team orders would go back in Favre's favour, but not so much, as we go on to lap 16 now. So far so good then. Speed Car then is holding on very nicely. Can he go for an overtake here on Lucas Percy in towards turn 1? He's a bit too far back then. I think Ryan's about it. before making any moves on. But of course, he's got slightly fresher cars. I'm not quite sure if it's going to make too much of a difference, I should say. Cooper's got himself past Jinner, then Jinner's having an issue, then Jinner's had a problem, then he's lost an end plate. And down the inside goes Vessier then. And Vessier then is going to have to try and fight this one, because it looks like Jinner has lost that right end plate then on the Mercedes car, and it's going to be and he's decided to fight it out as well then for some reason with that wing damage as well then into turn 6. Oh my goodness me, I thought that was some debris coming up, but I think it's grass, so it's not all doom and gloom just yet. As we go on to the back straight once again then, DRS not available then for Jinner, I don't think then, as we cross into sector 2 then, but he is using a lot of ERS to try and catch up to Coop then. Coop's lost a lot of time then to the top 5, and so I think there might have been an issue between Jinner and Coop on turn 1 or turn 2. Then R2B has lost the lead then, Equaz up into the race lead then for the Williams team then, looking good indeed then for Williams. Then the top 5 now stretching their legs as well. Ginger Rage picks up a 3-second penalty as well. Unfortunately, Ginger Rage not going his way at this stage of the race. Then Coop is under pressure from Ginger, but I think Ginger's going to have to pick to sort out that front wing. Then into the box comes the race leaders, and they are calling it a day then for Equaz, for R2B and for Lucas Purse on the hard compound car. Through goes Coop then. Ginger has carried on, then he's up into down into P4 up into P4 I should say, with the pit stop then, that is, but he's carried on with that front wing damage as well then, so I'm not quite sure what the strategy is then for Ginger. Then he's on the hard compound tyres, so maybe he thinks he needs to extend in this stint then to then go for it in the second stint as well. Then we'll have to wait and see what the strategy is going to be for the whole race, because we don't even know. Well, I don't even know for sure. But the Alpine's now getting stuck up behind the Mercedes and behind the Williams car of Coop. Then they're in the top, or in the fight for a podium place as it stands, but not a net podium place, I don't think. With Equaz then on the medium compound tyres again then, so he's gone medium has Equaz. Speed car is taking the lead of the race then from Gordo. Where are they? There they are, coming through the back straight then, as the Haas takes the lead this time now. So the Haas is the first time for his first time in the lead. Coop has been passed by Jinner with that wing damage then, so Jinner's doing a good job with the wing damage to keep himself in the good spot then for the podium places then, even with that right end plate missing, as here comes Vessier then on the attack then down the inside of Coop, and we go round the corner then into, oh my god, oh dear, oh there's contact between the Alpines then as well then, and unfortunately, like I said, Coop then tried to get himself through. I don't know why, Vessier's got himself into the box now as well then. But Favre is, I don't know if Favre's got damage from that, to be fair. He might not have, which is good. But, yeah, it's just, yeah. Here we go then. It's overtaking, for the sake of overtaking, wrong lap 18, there's still 40 laps to go. Goodness me. So, there we go. Have we got 40 laps or 30 laps? I can't count. I think it's 40 laps. Goodness me. All right. So, yeah. There we go then. So far, so good. Then out in front, then Speed Car leads the way. Then he's got Gordo for company. Then 4 seconds back is Jinner, sorry. I bit my tongue. Coop has got himself into the fight with Jinner then, which is probably not where he wants to be then. He wants to have a clean and calm race then. Favre has got front wing damage and he's lost an end plate on the right-hand side of that Alpine as we go onto the back straight here. I think DRS is going to be available then for the Alpine car. No, it's not. So that's that then. Goodness me. Right then, so far so good then, as Gordon then hasn't got the lead back just yet. Then he's still all over the back of the Haas for the time being, but he's going into sector 3 now. Not really an overtaking place, although we've seen Vessier go for it, so why not? So there we go then into the penultimate couple of corners. Like I said, 4 seconds the gap. Then Jinner is struggling on with the hard compound tyre and the right end plate damage as well. Then same as Favre now as well. Then Favre is on medium compound tyre, so he is A-OK. But he is coming into the box then is Favre. He is, oh my goodness me, that was quick indeed. That was almost into the wall, I thought, then for Favre. But he has got the car slowed down in time. Then Cooper's also in the box as well then, as Cam goes through on the hard compound tyres then into P4. Oh dear, no, Kiki's had a problem. No, Kiki's lost the car then as a virtual safety car. I think it might be upgraded very shortly, but where is Kiki? He's on the final corner somewhere then, but we can't see. Virtual safety car, there could be an issue then with drive-throughs. Hopefully Ginger Rage knows that he can't speed under VSC this time. Yes. Okay. Brilliant. So there we go. Lap 19, we got a VSC. for Kiki's retirement. We didn't see where he was or what happened. We think it was at the final corner, but we're not sure, and we don't know. Yeah. So there we go. DRS re-enabled. Then no drive-through penalties for anybody, which is fantastic stuff to see. And Farf's Delta is messed up, so that's great news. Farf is the lobby host, so that is perfect. So, yeah. Right, then we'll have to hope that that sorts itself out. But, right, good stuff indeed. We'll crack on. VSC done and dusted him. Pit wall, he said, so that is why he is out of the race. Then that makes sense. He was in the final corner according to the game where he retired, but we couldn't tell. But we didn't see. But there we go. At least we didn't see then. So that's saved any blushes then for Kiki, I suppose you could say. So good stuff indeed. Right, then nobody in the race lead decided to pit then under that VSC. I think we might have missed the pit box, the pit entry then, as Kiki was a bit further behind. And here comes Vessia then on Don of the Dons then. Much fresher tyres for the Alpine compared to the Mercedes. Then as we go round the outside at turn 3, Don of the Dons fights it off then for the time being in towards turn 4 now. But he is going to be under pressure, I think, from the Alpine very quickly. As Gordo's taken back the lead then into sector 2. And on the attack then, Ginger Rage has been passed by Kamara Racer then. Vessia is still on the back of Don of the Dons for the time being. The Mercedes under pressure here as well. Then Ekbaz has been passed by Lucas Percy for P5. We'll go back to this battle here as well. Then here's the Mercedes, here's the Alpine. The Alpine has gone through with some DRS assistance as well. Then up into P9 for Vessia now on the back of Coupe, who of course did pit for the hard compound tyres. Then Vessia has done a one-lap undercut. Then he's got himself in DRS range of the Williams driver, which is good stuff indeed. Then for the Alpine team, out in front. Then Speed Car takes back the lead. Then down the main straight on to lap 21 of 58. Then goodness me, we are getting through the race finally, sort of. But so far so good. Then Speed Car, of course, is on the 3-lap fresher hard compound tyres. I was thinking he did pit on lap 3 for that safety car that was caused by Hungry Stars with DNF, unfortunately, for Hungry Stars. Both the Red Bulls are struggling out here. One of them DNF, then one down in P15 for the time being. But Vintage has just pit for fresher hard compound tyres. So back up the order then as Kamara Racers had an issue at the final couple of corners. And he's had a spin. Racing Bulls from fantastic qualifying has really not gone their way then at the start of this season then. And Kamara Racers had a spin again and needs to get himself sorted, otherwise he's going to disqualify as well in this race. But he has got himself spun back around then and back underway, and into the box he goes then for Kamara Racer. Vessia has passed Coupe then up into P8 now. Like I said, the Alpine with that one lap undercut has got himself into the range then of the Williams fight, I should say. They were 9 seconds off the back of the pack, and I think Coupe actually lost out before the pit stops then. And that has put him into the clutches now of Vessia as well. Then Kamara Racer was into the box, and he is coming back out now on a set of medium compound tyres, used medium compound tyres according to the Delta as well, according to the classification as well, I should say. Out of the pits comes then. He's ahead of Jinner then, but he's been lapped by Speed Kai then. Of course, Speed Kai will have to make a pit stop in the next few laps or so that will unlap Kamara Racer as well when he does that. Gordo, as Kiki left the session, he's already out of the race, unfortunately for Kiki. Big smash then at the pit entry then. Lucas Percy's got himself past his teammate now into P3 on the medium compound tyres and back underway then. What was I talking about? I think I was talking about Gordo. Gordo's come out of the pit lane in P7 and he's on fresh hard compound tyres. Can he get to the end of the race from here? Is the next question. We'll have to find out then. But so far so good for Gordo, like I was saying, from last season's champion, and keeping it clean and consistent as per usual. He's just carrying on then, doing the best races he can do and not getting involved in any shenanigans. German has said you can't park there, which is fair. Yeah, probably. I didn't see who was parking where, to be fair, unless he's talking about Kamara Racer then trying to get himself back underway. He did eventually. He's got himself under a fresh set of medium compact tyres and back underway out of the box for Kamara Racer then. Only good in one lap pace, says Kiki then. He weren't too slow in silver on Monday then, so good stuff indeed. And good luck from Rocket Lizo as well. Then Rocket Lizo, of course, is rooting for, well, he would be rooting for the Racing Bull team, but he used to be rooting for the Ferraris, but the Ferraris didn't bother turning up, so now he's rooting for the Racing Bulls, and the Racing Bulls are not having a great race, as Kamara is pretty quick. Oh, goodness. Right then. People are going to have a break. I might have a break as well. So there we go. We'll see what I can do. I'm going to have my dinner. Farf then up into P10, then getting himself past Donald Lons, who haven't pitted yet. Donald Lons is back on the overtake though into turn 1, and now through into turn 2 as well. Then here comes the Alpine, here comes the McLaren of Serious Mushroom as well. Then Alpine goes through, then can the Mushroom go through as well? Then yellow flags are fluttering for Kamara Race's car, which is just coming out of the pit lane. Then Serious Mushroom got himself past the Mercedes of Donald Lons into P11 as well. Then stuff from Mushroom. And on to the back of Favre then, who is of course just in the top 10. Mushroom working himself through into the lead. Speed Kai, I think Gordo reserve rival in Speed Kai then for the race lead, but he has pitted for the hard compound tyres now as Gordo. Speed Kai carrying on those hard compounds that he put on lap 3. So he is going for a few more laps out here then. Lap 23 of 58. Okay. 24. Yes. Well, anybody want to join me for comms? COVID. I won't give it to you in the party chat. But you want to join me for comms then, and you can do talking, and I'll just RTB is Coop and Vessia then switch places again. They used to carry on their fight then after the pit stop round. And they have carried on their fight all the way through into lap 24 of 58 now as well then. We would be getting to the end of the race, and I think it's 29 laps, or 27, I can't remember. But either way, we will be getting towards the end of the race. And Cam and Equaz switch places then through turn 6, which is not a place to overtake, but potentially Cam's had an issue. No, potentially Equaz had an issue, I should say then, as we go on to the back straight then for this run. And here comes Equaz on the attack this time then, trying to get himself back past the Kick Sauber car into the chicane. Yes, he's made it. Oh dear, no he's not. Oh my god, I thought Cam was going to just go into the back of him and spin them both out there, but thankfully not. Then Lucas Percy's got himself past Jinner, has he? Into sector 3 we go once again. Side by side then, as RTB got himself past Cam now on those fresher hard compound tyres for the Aston Martin, and into P5 now as well. Then Jinner has lost out then to Lucas Percy. Then now it's Equaz then lining up a move as well then in P4 at the moment, that is. Comes in on the attack then down towards turn 1, but he's not close enough to make the move, I don't think, into that braking zone then in turn 1. Has to sit behind for the time being, then heading down towards turn 4. 11 seconds the gap between Speed Kai and Lucas Percy. Of course, Speed Kai has not pitted, well, he has pitted technically on lap 3, but he has not pitted recently, which is why he is out in the lead then by 11 seconds. Lucas Percy, of course, is on 8 lap old medium compound tyres. He pitted 8 laps ago, as you can tell from the graphic. Jinner has lost out to the DRS then of Lucas Percy. That's going to be bad news for Jinner, and he's under attack now from Equaz and from R2B and from New Zealand Canada. There could be another triple overtake then on the Mercedes as we go down towards the back straight here. DRS enabled then for Equaz as we go flying through. Then here we come down the back straight. Then Jinner has been passed by Equaz. Then here comes R2B as well then on the attack. Then he's got himself ahead of the Mercedes into the chicane, up into P4 now for R2B as well. Then great stuff indeed. And I think Jinner, like I said, wisely not trying to battle too hard on that one, because he knows that they're going to go flying through. Here comes Cam flying through. And again, Cam hasn't realised that he keeps locking up in that corner and trying to do something about it. Then he just carries on locking up in that corner, and that is a problem for the Kickstone. Right then. Equaz then is still within DRS range of Percy. Then this is good news for it. I think he's on the same strategy as it stands then with the race, or net race leader I should say, because of course Speed Guy will have to pit again very soon. So this is looking good for Equaz. If he can hold on to that DRS then down towards turn 3. Yes he can. RTB can fight with well. Gordo has somehow lost out to the... Oh, he did of course pit later. So potentially on a different strategy against Gordo, and we'll have to wait and see how it unfolds. And he might be looking to go do a one-stop here at Gordo, and maybe going from the medium to the hard at a later date than the field ahead of him. And of course, we'll have to wait and see then what the strategy is going to be, because we have no clue. Well, I don't. So if you've got any ideas, just let us know, because that'd be helpful. Here comes R2B on the attack then on Equaz as well, then into P3 now. And can he get himself past Lucas Percy as well, then into the chicane? Then yes, he's gone for it. Yes, he's gone for it. Yes, he's got it. Up into P2 now as well, then past the Kick Sauber machine. and up into P2 then, on net race lead I should say then, with that overtake as well. Then double overtake then for R2 Beat, then he's got himself up into P2 then. Cooper's been passed by Vessier again, these two carrying on their battle then on those hard compound tyres, and they're into P8 now for Vessier then, and there we go then, good stuff indeed then. Farber's been passed by Mushroom, but he's on the attack then on the McLaren, oh my god, and he's got himself back through into P10 now in the Alpine, good stuff indeed, both the Alpines in the points for the time being as well. Then R2 Beat has set the fastest lap of the race, and 9 seconds behind the current race leader with Speed Kai. Tyres as well then. Lucas Percy then is on medium compound tyres, same for Ekraz as well, so I think there's more stops to come. I think Ekraz has done medium actually, so Ekraz might have to stop again for sure, but when will he stop again is the question. We will wait and see, but he's still got a few laps in his tank, on those tyres I should say, to go, I would imagine, so not too shabby for the time being then. Gorda then is back into the DRS train then with Cam and Jidder. 3 seconds back from the top 4 then is the Mercedes driver as it stands onto the back straight then, lap 27 of 58. So, goodness me. Here we go then, here comes Cam on the attack then, DRS enabled then. Oh my god, they're going to go side by side through here, and so I'm just waiting for the incident, to be honest. I don't think there's oh my, as Cam cuts across then, and Jinner then is involved then. Gordo's trying to go for the move then, and he's being squeezed, and they've got themselves through, thankfully. Just oh my god. Yeah, okay. Jinner's got a 3 second warning for cutting the crack on the exit in the final turn, I think that was. Not quite sure how that happened, but there we go. Out in front then, R2B is still in the lead then of this trio then, behind is Lucas Percy then and Ekraz. Jinner and Gordo then switching places then into turn 3, and still fighting it out then, and Gordo's got himself ahead. R2 Beats had a problem then, R2 Beats had an issue then at turn 5, then he's had a spin then as R2 Beat got himself back underway then, but he's lost out to Lucas Percy and to Ekraz, and unfortunately for the Aston Martin then he's lost out of the DRS range as well then to the top, or to the net top 2 I should say. Gordo's got himself past Jinner now, and now trying to go on the attack then of using the car into sector 3, but no, not quite then for Leo. Oh my goodness me, yes, I thought he was going for it. He is going for it, is Gordo, and yeah, trying to go line of the move then down the inside then. He's got the position, I think, up into P5. Yes, he has then into the P5, I should say, ahead now of the Kick Sauber. He's done 24 laps, done 18 laps more on his hard compound tyres compared to the Aston Martin, who is now trying to scamper off into the distance, I think, then is Gordo. So good stuff indeed then. No pit stop activity then for New Zealand Cam then, or for Jinner as well. Jinner was struggling on it with the front wing damage. I'm not looking for front wing damage just yet. Vessier now and Coop then resume their battle. Serious Mushroom then is all over the back then of Farf as we go into the final corner between these two as well. So there's groups of battling going on then throughout the field. So far so good then for those who actually have believed to stay in this race so far. I'm going to have a break because I'm dying out here. Oh my goodness me. Sorry, it's not a good time to start off this season. We've got COVID. Mushroom and Farf have switched places. Vessier and Coop have switched places as well. Vessier back up into P8, then Mushroom up into the top 10 in the McLaren. Good stuff from him then. Kamara Racer has left the session. Unfortunately for him, then he is out of the race then after pitting and quitting the halfway point. We're over the halfway point, which is good. I've just noticed. So there we are. But yeah, so far so good then. Lap 30 then of 58, then 28 laps to go here in this Grand Prix. And like I said, looking good so far. Then the gap coming down then to the race leader then for Speed Kai. 7.5 seconds the gap then. Coop and Vessier then again battling into turn 3, and Coop now ahead in the Williams car into P8. Good stuff from him. RTB trying to catch up to the to Equaz and to Lucas Percy then as well. Of course, he is trying to get himself back in the fight after that spin at turn 5. Thankfully, no damage then for RTB because he was in a precarious position then as well then for that for the Aston Martin then in the middle of the track as well then. 1.6 1.7 seconds the gap then to the two ahead as we go through the chicane then on lap 30 then. Gordo trying to catch up on the fresher hard compound tyres. Vessia and Cooper as these two resume their battle once again then. And looking good out there for the time being then. Fantastic stuff indeed. Farf and Mushroom again resuming their battle. Then this time Farf is ahead into the chicane. Then Mushroom then putting the pressure back on then on that Alpine into the chicane as Ginger Rage is still solid on those hard compound tyres in this race. Then hoping for a safety car in this one. Potentially that could come very shortly. We'll have to wait and see then. So far so good then. Like I was saying, Equaz is now the only challenger really for Lucas Percy. 1.6 seconds to gap. Vintage picks up a penalty, unfortunately for Vintage, having an issue out there somewhere. I think it's turn 6 that's cost him, and he's not got a left end plate then has Vintage either, so unfortunately for Vintage he's not having a great time out there with the front wings. Equaz now has got a front wing intact and he's going to go on the charge now for P2. Gino's got himself past Cameron into turn 5 and up into P6. Then I thought Gordo was flying off the circuit then. Equaz and Lucas Percy. Then here we go. It's a move for P2 then for the Williams car. Then up into P2 ahead of Percy. Into the chicane then of sector 3. Then he comes up past up into P2. 7.5 seconds the gap then to the current race leader of Speed, Kai, who is looking strong out there in the Haas. Cam is back past Jenner now with some DRS assistance as well. Then here comes Jenner on the attack once again as we go down towards sector 3 once again as well. And Cam holds on to the position this time in P6 and fantastic stuff indeed. Then Cooper's not going to get to back past Vessia on this lap one, so the battle has not resumed then for these two either at this stage. And here comes Sirius Mushroom all over the back of Favre in the Alpine, but still not been able to make any moves just yet then on the Alpine car for the time being. Then RTB is himself back in the DRS window then of the two ahead of him, which is going to be fantastic news for RTB if he can hold on to it, because he's trying to challenge those two then for potentially the net race lead of this Grand Prix. And Gordo is catching up as well. Then Jimmy's got himself back past Cam into P6 here as well. Then Jimmy's been up and about, and then with New Zealand Cam as well throughout this race. Got himself back up into P6 now ahead of the Kick Sauber car, but they've been joined now by Vessia and by Coop. Then R2B picks up a penalty. That's bad news for R2B. Then into sector 2. Then DRS is going to be available for him, but unfortunately that is going to be costly for his race at the end of the Grand Prix. Then Vessia's got himself past New Zealand Cam as well. Then into P7. Then here comes Coop as well. Then Coop going through into P8. Then Cam dropping down the field. Then unfortunately down to P9. Then after the battles with Jinner, then he's dropped down the field. Then Lucas Percy, has got himself past Equaz into sector 3 and back up into P2. Then RTB has joined the party as well there. Vessia then is starting to get a bit spicy here, to be fair. Vessia then has got himself up into P7 now, all over the back of Jinner. Then doesn't realise that Jinner's got front wing damage then, so he needs to make sure that he is careful of the Mercedes car. But so far so good. Then into the penultimate corner, Lively Coop then locking up the car and putting it in the car. Locking up the front tyres then, and here comes Vessia then on the attack. They've got himself past Jinner already into turn 1 then. Can he swoop down the inside and keep on that lead? Then yes, he can. Then into P6 and Jinner's all over the back of the Alpine car as we go down towards turn 3. And Vessia then is keeping control for the time being of the position. He's got the position done and dusted, I think. He has done. Up into P6 now for Vessia. Then good stuff indeed. And back underway. Oh my goodness me. Jinner losing the car almost then into at the exit of turn 4. Then into turn 5. Then Equaz has been passed by R2B. And oh dear. It looks like Equaz has had a few dodgy moments there, but he's got himself back underway. Vessia's picked up a penalty through turn 6. And that is costly indeed then for Vessia. Then that is a 3-second warning for a 3-second penalty, to be added to his time at the end of the Grand Prix. That is, of course. Here comes Jinner on the attack as well, back up into P6 as this battle carries on then, and now it's a 4-way battle then with Coop and Cam also involved as well. Then here comes a Williams car then trying to swoop down the outside then, and yes, he's going to go for it then. Oh my goodness me, there's contact between Jinner and Coop then, and off the circuit goes Coop as well then, and Jinner then is putting his elbows out. Then Vessia's gone for the move, then he's got himself through up into P6 then. Oh my goodness me, there's more contact there. And, oh God, and Coop's gone in the back in there as well. Then Ginner is finally coming in the pit lane. And I think that the three of them that have just carried on then are going to be very thankful of that then, because not quite sure what was going on there. RTB has got himself up into P2 and carrying on then. New Zealand Cam has got a 3-second penalty. He's done 30 laps on those hard compound tyres. That was a fantastic stint indeed on the hard compounds. Maybe thinking about a pit stop sometime soon. I'm not quite sure. So far so good then. Equaz then is back in the fight. Then RTB has got himself recovered after that spin at turn 5. He's got himself back into P2 into the net race lead. Then he's got 13 lap younger tyre than the race leader of Speed Kai, who of course pitted under the safety car at 3. But so far so good. Then here comes New Zealand Cam. Then he's under pressure from Vessia this time. Then Vessia back up into P6 now with some DRS assistance as well. And here comes Coop on the attack then as well, trying to get himself up into P7. Then they've got the pass and kicks out, but for the time being stays behind and into the sector 2, sector 3 I should say, as there's an issue then for R2B. He's off the circuit again then at the penultimate corner. Then he's off the circuit and he's lost out to his teammate here. Equaz and Percy into the box, and they've done 18 laps. Percy's got a 10-second penalty speed in the pit lane here, which is sorry. But there we go then. Oh mate, more vibration then in the pit lane. Hard compound tyres for Equaz then as we go into the box then for Lucas Percy as well. Where is he serving the penalty now? No, he's not. He's on to medium compound tyres as Percy then, and away he goes then. Equaz coming out the pit lane in P8, and where is Farf? Then he's down in P9. He's not going to be able to catch up to the to the Williams, I should say. Then somehow Equaz has lost an abundance of time then through the pit stop phase. He was in DRS range of Lucas Percy. He's now 1.6 seconds behind the Kicksauber, but there we are. So that is that then. Penalty situation, it looks like this then. 13 seconds for Percy, of course 10 seconds was that speeding in the pit lane penalty, which can be removed then if he does come back into the box then. But otherwise he'll be added on to his race time at the end of the Grand Prix then. 6 seconds for Cam, 3 seconds for Vessia and for R2B. We're watching them battle then into the chicane, then Coop up into P5 then, and into a net P4 of course, with the penalty situation then in his favour. 13 seconds, like I said, then Farf has got 3 seconds, Ginger's got 9 seconds, Ginger Rage has got 6 seconds, and Vintage has got 3 seconds. So those are the penalty situations at the moment, but we'll come back to that then towards the end of the Grand Prix, because that's going to impact their finishing positions. I think then Vintage has not got a left end plate there, but he's soldiering on out there on the hard compact tyres, I should say. Gordo has got himself into the net race lead. 31 laps then on those 32 laps on the hard compound tyres. Percy takes back that P6 for Kicksauber, and we go on to lap 36 now as well. Then what's he going to go on to is the question, and it's medium compound tyres for the Kicksauber car of New Zealand Cam, then back out on the way. I think he'll be out behind Ginner then just about. No, he's going to be very close to Ginner. No, he is behind Ginner. Then we go out of the pit lane. He go then for the Kicksauber then Green Machine, and back underway then in P10 then. So still in the points pen positions now on a fresh set of medium compound tyres to the end of the Grand Prix potentially here. We will wait and see. Right then, Gordo has now taken the net race lead away from his teammate then after RTB had another spin then at the penultimate couple of corners then. So now Gordo is 6.7 seconds behind the race leader of Speed Kai. Speed Kai has done, I can't do the maths then, I think 18 more laps on those hard compound tyres compared to Gordo's hard compound tyres. So they're going to be a bit more sprightly then for the Aston Martin, as into the box comes Speed Kai, and there is a Red Bull right in front of us then of Vintage. He has gone for a wing change, so I think there will be a lap down if Speed Kai doesn't have to have a wing change as well then. So he is onto a set of medium compound tyres and out and away. Where will he come out then in respect to Vessia and Coop and Lucas Percy, who's now joined this fight then with the Williams team? Then there is Speed Kai in the foreground. There is the Haas car coming out the pit lane. Then Lucas Percy is the fastest lap of the race then, but he's not going to be close enough as he comes through turns 1 and 2. He is behind Vessia, he is behind Coop then, and he is behind Speed Kai, who is now 10 seconds off P2. Lucas Percy trying to go for a move then. There's a late lunge then from Vessia, trying to defend then, but around turn 4 we go then, and it's close between the two of them. Then here comes the Kicksauber then. Oh my god, there's contact between the two of them as well. And brilliant. Here we go. Lucas Percy up into P5. And Vessia dropping down to P6 and to stay within DRS. Then Coop is now under pressure then from the kick out then. Hopefully he doesn't get the elbow treatment like Vessia did. We'll have to wait and see then. Here comes the kick out with some DRS then coming towards the chicane. He is not close enough then to go for a move then into the chicane. Can he make a move on the exit of the chicane though on the fresh medium compound tyres? He's got some DRS to play with as well then as we go down towards the final couple of corners then of Sector 2. And locking up again then that front right is going to be under a bit of pressure then for Lucas Percy. Same as New Zealand Cam's front right. We've seen that a few times from the other kick Sauber as well then. Up into P4 now the front left this time. But Speed Guy then is 2.8 seconds ahead then of Lucas Percy then as we go on to lap 38, I think we are. We'll have to wait and see what the Aston Martins are going to do then, because they've got a 9-second gap then to Speed Guy, who's on fresh medium compound tyres. That gap's going to come down pretty quickly, I think. I think R2 Beat might have to pit again. I'm not sure if Gordo will have to pit again, but he might lose out then to the likes of the Haas and the Kick Sauber potentially, if he doesn't choose to pit again, that is. But of course, like I was saying at the beginning, strategy is whatever. We don't know. So there we go then. Jinner is off the circuit then at turn 2. New Zealand Cam has snuck through then into P9 then. And back underway then is the Kick Sauber car then trying to catch up to Farf. Now Farf might have to pit again. Those medium compound tyres getting worse for wear in the Alpine, for the Alpine I should say then, at this stage of the race. And the Aston Martins might have to start working together here with some DRS tactics then to get themselves to the checkered flag if they want to stay in the podium places then, that is. R2 Beat just needs to calm down because he keeps trying to spin the car out, it looks like. But he has a couple of spins and still doing a good job then in P2 for the time being. Then 9 seconds now the gap then to Speed Kai on the medium compound tyres. 3 seconds the gap between Speed Kai and Lucas Percy. Then both of them are picked up for fresh medium compound tyres very recently. Coop and Vessia then soldiering on the hard compound tyres. Ekbaz now is in the fight then with his teammate and with Vessia on the hard compound tyres. Only 3-lap old hard compound tyres, I should say then. So he is going to the end of the Grand Prix from here. I have no doubt about it. But can he get to the end of the Grand Prix then? Can he get himself past his teammate and the Alpine, who have been battling then for most of this final stint, middle stint? So far so good out there, but unfortunately, like I was saying, we had the retirement for Hungary Styles. Oh my God, Ekbaz then into the back of Vessia. Then he needs to make sure that he avoids the car ahead and goes round it rather than through it. There we go. Yeah, like I said, Styles out of this race then, very early on lap 2, I think. Then there was an incident at the exit of the chicane then for the Sector 2 chicane, I should say, for Hungry Styles then. Gamer in the pits quit as well. Then Kiki then crashed at the pit entry then as Ekbaz goes for the move then on Vessia. Then can he go for a move on his teammate as well then into the chicane? No, not quite. Then he stays behind his teammate for the time being. Then can he make a move then down towards Sector 3? Yellow flags out there. Yellow flags out there for Lucas Percy, who's off the circuit at the exit of the chicane as well. Then unfortunately for Percy, we didn't see what happened then. I'm not quite sure where he was in relation to the field. I think he was ahead. He was ahead of this battle here as he was behind Speed Kai for by about 3 seconds, wasn't he? So unfortunately for Percy, I think that's a spin then at the exit of the chicane. Then got himself back underway, thankfully. But so far so good then. Yeah, Kiki then crashed in the pit entry, then Kamara Racer then pit and quit at serve that penalty now as well. Actually, that 10-second penalty got the speed earlier on in this race. We will see what tyre he's going to go on to next, though. He's going to go on to soft compound tyres then. He will come out, I think, in P10 as it stands then onto those soft compound tyres, so he'll be much throttled. That vibration is fantastic. Where is he? Yes, he's teleported now. Good stuff indeed. And out of the box he goes then. Can he get himself out ahead of Mushroom is the question. There is the Kick Sauber coming out the pit, and here comes Mushroom flying down the main straight then. The Kick Sauber has gone through turn 1 already then, so he's got himself out ahead of Mushroom for the time being. Mushroom is on 6-lap old hard compound tyres, so if anybody starts to struggle ahead, he could get himself into the points here as well for Mushroom, which would be very good stuff indeed. Then Lucas Percy locking up through turn 3. Bark and Cam switching places, then Cam on much fresher medium compound tyres and some DRS to play with as well. Up into P7 now for the Kick Sauber team. Great stuff indeed then. Into the pits comes R2 Beat then, so he's calling it a day. 24 laps on the hard compound tyres. Where will he go next then is the question. It's going to be medium compound tyres for the Aston this time. Speed Car goes back up into P2, then it's a 7.5 second gap to the race leader of Gordo. As it stands then, that gap is coming down. It was over 9 seconds just when he came out of the pit. Then R2B coming out of the box now as well. Where is he going to be in relation to the rest of the field? Then he's out in P6 then. Oh my goodness, he's gone very deep then into turn 1. but he has got himself slowed down in time. Far into the box as well, 22 laps on the medium compound tyres. What's he going to go on to next as well? It's soft compound tyres for the Alpine. It is soft compound tyres for the Alpine as well. Great stuff indeed then, and away he goes. There we go, away he goes, I should say. Soft compound tyres for Percy. He's up into P8, then passes Farf, who's in the box. Then Sirius Mushroom up into P10, then passing Jilla, who has picked for medium compound tyres as well. And so I think the last few rounds of stops are coming in now, and this is it then to the end of the Grand Prix from here. Lap 41 of 58. Then Ronaldon's coming through into the main straight. Then can he get himself into the range of Jilla, his teammate? Then not quite. Then he's got Ginger Age all over the back of him. 36 laps on the hard compound tyres for Ginger Age. Then he has been powering on out there. Fantastic stuff indeed then for Ginger Age. My goodness me, I am faltering. If you couldn't tell, I've been faltering since lap 2. COVID isn't going to keep me down. Unfortunately, I've got to keep commentating. So there we go. Sorry for the guys who are listening to the stream as well. Then it must be very difficult indeed. Nonetheless, then here comes Vessia then on the attack once again of a Williams car, and it's Coop this time, and once again down towards turn 1. Can he make the move? Then he's too far back then into turn 1 to try and lunge down the inside. Then Coop's on wide in, and this can open the door then down towards turn 3 for the Alpine, and flying through. Then here he goes then down towards turn 3, taking the position. He's up into P4. He's got the position done and dusted. Then good stuff indeed from Vessia. Then both of them on very old hard compound tyres. We saw Speed Car do about 31 laps. I think it was 32 laps or so. Same for and so we might see a few more stops coming here our way, I think, from the top of the order, that is. 6 seconds the gap in the race lead then for Gordo. I think Gordo might be the one starting to struggle then on those hard compound tyres. Same for Coop and Vessia, sorry, I should say. Soft compound tyres flying then for Lucas Percy. He's just set the fastest lap of the race so far. Jury's back in the pit lane. Soft compound tyres and a wing change, and unfortunately for Jenna then I'm not quite sure what's happening to the Mercedes driver. Unfortunately for his race, it's not gone the way he wanted it to, or would have wanted it to. Then into the pits comes Gordo, so Gordo has I think realised what was going on. Then he has come into the box then to call it a day then on the hard compound tyres. Speed Kai will take back the race lead here, which is great stuff from Speed Kai on his debut appearance, of course, his debut full-time appearance that is, in the 100% league. The Haas leading the way then, great stuff indeed. I'm sure Gunther Steiner would be very proud indeed as well. Gordo coming out the pit lane, soft compound tyres then for the Aston Martin. Where is he going to come out in relation to the battle around? And Cooper's got a 3-second over. Then Vessia is in the fight. Then who come out just ahead of this chasing pack as well. Then there's going to be all sorts of anarchy. Then into turn 3. R2 Beat then is oh goodness, where's that R2 Beat going? Where's that Williams going as well? Then R2 Beat's gone for a swooping move, and into turn 5 he's ahead of the Williams car. Then Coop then starting to struggle on those hard compound tyres. Like I said, I think there's more stops to come then for a few drivers out here, as Gordo on the soft compound tyres is powered away. Then he's in P3 and he's powered away from Vessia. Then here comes R2 Beat then on fresher medium compound tyres as well, then with some DRS. Then both the Aston Martins flying at this stage then as we go into sector 3. Lucas Percy picks up a 3-second penalty, unfortunately for Percy. I think that's through turn 5. Farf picks up a penalty as well then in the into the same corner, I think, there as well then for Farf. Both of them on the soft compound tyres and flying out there at this stage of the race. Then R2 Beat's got himself back in DRS range on his teammate as it stands, which is going to be great news indeed for R2 Beat if he can hold on to that as well. That will drag him along nicely into lap 44. Speed Car starts this off. Equaz 9.8 seconds back, then almost 10 seconds back then from the race leader, but Gordo's on the soft compound tyres, and this is his first lap on the soft compound tyres. Can he catch the top 2? Can he catch the race leader and then get himself a race win? The champion, of course, from last season is looking strong for a podium here as well. So far so good. Then Coop then on the hard compound tyres back again with Vessia. Then they've been passed by R2 Beat and by Gordo, and now resuming their battle, these two, which has been a race-long battle almost for the whole thing, as far as I can remember, that is. But my brain's already befuddled. I don't know what you want to call it. Ginner has got a 3-second penalty as well. Then unfortunately the penalty's starting to roll in. There is only 4 drivers remaining without penalties. That is Donald the Dons, who's done a good job on penalties in P11 for the time being. I've probably jinxed him now. I thought that was Lucas Percy ghosting there, but it seems like it was just the light on the car. And the top 3 then, Speed, Kai, Equaz and Gordo. No penalties for the top 3 as it stands then. Gordo has got himself in DRS range now of Equaz with those soft compound tyres. The soft compound tyres flying then on the Aston Martin. Looking strong out there is Gordo. Then he's sliding it through into sector 3 though. That is going to be very bad news for his tyre there. But so far so good then. Out in front Speed Car's got the gap up to 10 seconds now, so Ekbaz is dropping backwards rather than catching up to the Haas car as it stands. Here we go then on to the main straight. Here comes Gordo then on the attack, and he's a bit too far back at this stage. R2 beats that's the fastest lap of the race then. Great stuff from the Aston Martin outfit as they've got the fastest lap point as it stands as well then. Here we go then in towards turn 3 and can Gordo go for the move, and Speed Car's got a 3-second penalty then in turn 4, I think, on the exit of turn 4 then. That is going to be dangerous stuff indeed. If Gordo can get himself within 7 seconds then, sorry, 3 seconds obviously, then he can get himself past. I was trying to do some quick maths then, but I got it wrong, which isn't the first time then. But there we go then, Gordo then on the back then of Ekbaz then, he's putting the pressure on now on those soft compound tyres. Needs to get through quickly enough if he wants to try and challenge Speed Kai for the race win here then. Oh my goodness me, I thought they were going to come together there, but Gordo has gone through up into P2, then R2B has gone through up into P3. So both the Aston Martins now on the podium places then, of course, without any penalty situations, that is. That will be taken into account, of course, at the end of the Grand Prix. But there we go then, Coop up into P5 as well then. Both Williams then going very strong at the moment. Yellow flags for it's yellow flags for Percy. Then Percy had a spin at turn 6 then. He's got himself back underway quickly enough then, but I think he's got his wing intact as well. But unfortunately, that through turn 6, then it seems to be costly. Then he's had a problem then through turn 6 and had a spin. Farf has gone through. Then he's not lost any other places then apart from that one place to Farf, which of course Farf is. We don't want to worry about Farf too much, but he's doing a good job actually, to be fair. But yeah, unfortunately for Lucas Percy, then that spin has cost him a place then to Farf then, but he hasn't cost him any. Well, he's cost him 1 point as it stands, 2 points. So far, so good. Gap now 9.8 then, so it's coming down then for, well, it's not really coming down, it's 10.1 now, it's all over the place. I thought it was coming down then for Gordo then, but he's still just outside that 10-second range then for the race lead. He needs to get himself within 3 seconds of Speed Kai if he wants to win this Grand Prix then, with the penalty situation, I should say, for Speed Kai. But he's done a fantastic job at the race lead then. After claiming the race lead, he's been in control and looking good out there in the Haas car then. Gordo's looking good as well. So is his teammate R2 beat then into the chicane and go then. No moves being made between the Aston Martins. Potentially could work together then on their much fresher tyres then to get themselves into the range then of Speed Kai. Ekbaz then is holding station at the moment in P4 and looking good as well then. Potentially to pick up a podium here as well. If he can stay within the penalty range of R2 Beat, who of course has got a 3-second penalty, I believe, yes he has. Goodness me. Ginger Age, we'll come back to that, because Ginger Age has done 41 laps on the hard compound tyre. He is soldiering on out there, is Ginger Age. And fair play to him as well then. I think he's waiting for a safety car. Then into pits comes Vessia, then he's going to stay on the hard compound tyre. 29 laps then for Vessia. Ginger Age, like I was saying, then he's soldiering on out there. He's done 41 laps on the hard compound tyres and potentially going to go for the soft compound tyres towards the end of the Grand Prix. But fair play to Ginger Age, and he's had that drive-through penalty under the safety car, I think it was, and still done a good job then of carrying on in this Grand Prix. Then Vessia coming out the pit lane now into P7. He's going to be ahead of his teammate then, as Favre is just about to cross the start-finish line as Vessia disappears down through turn 2. But Vessia then back underway then on the soft compound tyres. Lucas Percy then trying to get himself back in this race and coming himself back past Favre, as we've got a change between the Aston Martin and then R2 Beat takes P2 and up into the, well, not up into P2, he's up into the second place on the grid, on the podium, I should say then. But of course that penalty will come back to bite him if he can't get himself a 3-second gap then. 9.2 the gap then between the race leaders. Like I was saying, it could come down to the penalty situation then, if they can get within that 3-second range then for Speed Kai, but they're going to have to gain 6 seconds in the next 11 laps or so. No, it's 11 laps now, because we're on to lap 48. Blimey, we're flying through. Keep losing sound, says Mushroom. You need to, I think you can just, if you just press pause and you just press pause and you have a spin of the vintage, I think. Yeah, if you just press pause and go to the race menu during the race and then back out of that and come back to the race or whatever it is, it should work for me before, but maybe not. I'm not quite sure. That is all the advice I can offer, unfortunately, because Gordo has lost out to the DRS of his teammate, and R2B is pushing on now. The gap 8.6 seconds between the race leaders. The gap coming down now by about half a second on the previous lap then. So this could be R2B on the charge then. If he can get himself, he'll have to get himself past the speed car, because there is a penalty for both drivers then at the moment. Then Gordo is just trying to sit comfortably then and try and get himself back in DRS range, I think, then of his teammate then. But unfortunately, not quite sure what happened to Gordo there. Must have had an issue somewhere. Lucas Percy then is trying to get himself back in DRS range then of the Farf, and into that attack of P8 as well. Then not so fast, not so quickly as not as quickly as he would have liked at this stage. But there we go then. Serious Mushroom then is in P10 then, and is having sound issues, it looks like. Penalty situation for Mushroom is 3 seconds, and he's currently 6 seconds ahead of Donald Don, so he'll be holding on to that P10. Donald Don's picked up a penalty as well then, so he's fine now as Serious Mushroom. So Mushroom then is just holding on there with some sound issues. I can hear the McLaren, but he can't hear his own McLaren, so that is odd. But hopefully that he can resolve that issue quickly enough then, and we can get himself back underway then. Hopefully it doesn't affect his race too much then. I've tried racing without sound before, and it was doable, but it wasn't amazing. Gordo then is, like I said, lost out then to his teammate then, and R2B is on a charge here actually. R2B has got himself past the soft shod Aston Martin and is powering away. You would have thought the soft compound tyres would be doing better than this at this stage, but potentially they've already overheated for Gordo, which is a big shame indeed if that's the case then. Eklaz is 3 seconds back then. He's been got himself past Ginner, I think then. I think that's the Mercedes of Donald Donaldson who has been lapped at this stage of the race as we go on to lap 49. No, we're going on to lap 50 now, and flying through. Farf has picked up a penalty. That is bad news for Farf, because I think that puts him in the range then of Lucas Percy. Yes, it does. 6 seconds for Percy, 9 seconds for Farf, and Percy is under that 3 second window then to get himself past Farf on the penalty situation. But I think he wants to get himself past Farf on the track. We're just over 1 second away now from the Alpine. Yellow flags fluttering, then yellow flags fluttering for Ginner. I think Ginner's had another issue then, or potentially just letting people past then at turn 2. So of course he's been lapped then, same for Vintage as well then at this stage of the race then. Ginger Rage has also been lapped as well, so he's coming through into sector 2. The Aston Martin's coming out behind them, but he's been passed by the current race leader of Speed Kai. Don and the Dons has not been lapped, I don't think. Serious Mushroom has I'm not quite sure what's happened to Mushroom then. He's lost out to Don the Dons now, so there we go. Yeah. Okay, cool. Right then, back to this battle here, because we need to go and see what's going on track then with the exciting stuff. And Cam is getting himself past Coop then into P5. Yellow flags for Mushroom, who has got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It's pit and quit as well. Don the Dons is coming through. I think there was a Mercedes who's had an issue then, and yeah, there we go then, another pit and quit. Fantastic. Okay, Coop and Cam. This is the battle here between these two. Percy's got himself in the battle with the Farf as well then. Great stuff indeed. Here comes Percy on the attack. Let's see if he can get past at turn 1. Into turn 1 we go. And I think I've got the no sound glitch as well now, to be fair. Here we go then, in towards turn 3 this time then. He drove into the back of Farf then, so yeah, I think my sound's cutting out as well, unless it's just my ears. But nonetheless, Percy then is all over the attack then on Farf on lap 52 or 58 here. I'm feeling so ill, to be fair, but fair play to the drivers who have been sticking at it, because they're not giving up in this race. The 13 drivers that are still in this one. Anyway, like I said, 2 Ferraris couldn't be bothered. 5 other drivers couldn't be bothered. So, yeah. Brilliant stuff. Percy locking up, then he's all over the place, then trying to get himself past Farf as quickly as possible. Then lap 53, I think, isn't it? Or 52, no, 52. Still a couple more laps to go, but there we are then. Cooper's lost out then to the DRS of Cam, and he is in P6 then currently. He could hold on to that. Penalty-wise, it is the same between Cooper and Vessia. So we could see Coop hold on to that P6 for Williams, and we'll have to wait and see. And great stuff indeed. Then Coop then is back in DRS range now. And now he's back out of it as well. Goodness knows where he is. There we are. Lucas Percy is trying to go past Farf, and I think Farf's gone wide out of turn 6 then, and Percy is flying through. Or is he? No, not quite. No, they're going to go side by side still, and right to the chicane as well then. So they're going to be battling all the way through, and Farf holds on to P8 for the time being. He'll be sick. Right, then Percy's back on the attack then, not because of the battling to be fair. Percy's back on the attack then. And Farf holds on to P8 for the time being then, good stuff indeed. Coop's dropped out of DRS then. Very nice. Here we go then. Percy down the inside at turn 3, then he's got himself through. There's contact between Percy and Farf, then Farf decided to barge his way into this and that. Through turn 5 then. And Percy now ahead into turn 6. And up into P8 as well now. Good stuff indeed then. Out in front, 6.6 seconds the gap then between, as Gordo's picked up a penalty as well then. Unfortunately I missed that. 54 of 58 then. 6.5 seconds the gap between the top 2 then. Here comes Gordo, he's 4.8 seconds back. He's really lost out then to his teammate after that. I'm not quite sure what's happened then. We'll have a look at the position changes. To do the driver today. And there they are then, three places for Speed Kai, then he's driven brilliantly then in the Haas. 6 places for R2B, then 2 for Gordo, 3 for Equaz, and 11 for Cam. Fantastic stuff indeed after losing his car keys in qualifying. Coop up 3 places then. Vessia up 10 places, then 2 for Farf, then unfortunately for Percy he's down 6 then. He's on the attack of Farf again, then down towards turn 1 this time. And I think he's made the move. It seems like when I go on board, it cuts out the audio then. But oh dear, and yellow flags fluttering as well for somebody out there. Then Farf up place as well. Of course, he is currently on the attack now into turn 3 and round the outside. Is he? Yes, he is. Then the season. Then Cooper's got himself past Cam. I think Cam was the one who had an issue. Then he's lost the right end plate. Then as Cam. And unfortunately then that is going to be very costly indeed then as we go on to lap 55 then of 58. Then Lucas Percy is back behind Farf now, and these two resuming their battle. Then Don the Dons is in the points then. Unfortunately for Mushroom, he was in the points then and decided to pit and quit then. Ginger Rage is also in the box then, so Ginger Rage from P11 then into the pit lane, and there we go then as Ginger is, I think Ginger Rage has done, has he done 48, he did 48 laps on the hard compact car. Very good stuff. Farf is back past as Cam is in the pit lane, so as Cam is calling it today, then Vessi has gone through to P6, and Cam I think will get out ahead of his rivals then for Pete of Farf and his teammate of Lucas Percy, because these two have been battling away then. Cam has got a front wing change then and a new set of soft compound tyres, and he will come out ahead of, will he come out ahead is the question actually. It's going to be quite close I think between Farf and as we've got Vintage and Ginner also in the pit lane. It's going to be quite close between New Zealand Cam, who's got a 3-second penalty as well then on the exit of turn of the pit lane, I should say. Yes. And I think what Serious Mushroom was saying is the audio is cut out again. There you go. I've just pressed the options button and the audio has come back. Fantastic. It's like a magician, isn't it? Brilliant stuff indeed then. So Cam has got a penalty then. We'll have a look at the penalty situation as well then. there is your driver of the day poll. Speed Kai, R2B, Equaz, and Versio, New Zealand Cam are your candidates then. But of course, penalty situations then are as follows. In 3 seconds for the top three, then Equaz is just outside that 3 second window as Farf has got himself back past Percy, then into P8 then for the time being. And good stuff indeed then. 3 seconds for Coop, but it's not going to affect his position as it stands then. Vessia the same. New Zealand Cam has got 12 seconds. If Farf can stay within 3 seconds of the kicks Alpha, then he would be able to gain that place back for P7, I should say then, for the Alpine outfit. Then lap 56 of 57 here as we go through the penultimate corner then for Farf. Lucas Percy has got, Farf's got 9 seconds and Lucas Percy has got 6 seconds, so could potentially jump up to P7 here if he can get himself in that range then of, well, he's in the range of his teammates' penalty. He's in the range of Farf's penalty as well then, but he doesn't want Farf to lose out to Cam too much then, as here comes Percy then on the attack then into turn 3 and up into P8 now as well then. Percy now needs to keep within 6 seconds then of his teammate if he wants to get that position off of his teammate as well then. Potentially New Zealand can go for the fastest lap here. Dollar the Dons is looking strong then for a P10 position. In P3, Ginger Age in P11, then he's pitted for a set of soft compound tyres. He's got 6 seconds penalties, but it won't affect his time. Ginner then is got 12 seconds as well, that he's soldiering on out there as well, going for the fastest lap point as well here, I think. Same for Vintage, then, who has been lapped, but he is doing a good job of staying in this race. And Farf and Percy have carried on their battle again then. So Farf has got himself back past. Then here comes Percy on the attack. Then I think Percy now has realised that he needs to get a move on if he wants to try and get himself into P7. Then. But Farf, I think, just carrying on the battle and just being annoying, which is just a normal thing for Farf. So 3.4 seconds the gap then out of the race lead. Then it's not going to be enough, unfortunately, for R2B unless he connected his penalty rule, or the same thing for that's the fastest lap of the race. Then extra point for himself and for Kick Sauber going his way as it stands. Equaz has got himself within the range then of within the range then of Gordo's penalty. So unfortunately for Gordo, it's going to be demoting him off the podium places as it stands as well. Then penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. There we go. Penultimate lap of the Grand Prix then, and we can get ourselves through this Grand Prix. So yeah, so far so good out there. And brilliant stuff indeed. Driver of the Day poll is out in the comment section then, so get your votes in for Speed Kai, R2 Beat. The other one was Gordo. No, sorry, not Gordo. Speed Kai, R2 Beat, Equaz, and Versio Cam. So there we go then. Like I said, Equaz is now on track for a podium here. He's within that 3 second window, then onto the final lap of the Grand Prix for the race leader of the Speed Kai. 2.6 seconds the gap now between R2B and Speed Kai. I think unfortunately it's too late for the Aston Martin driver, but he's done a great job so far. Then Farf has been passed by Percy, has he? Into sector 3. Then they're going to go side by side through here, and Farf then retakes P8. But these two battling on then for their own enjoyment now there. R2B now 2.3 seconds behind, but I think it's too late now. Here comes Speed Kai then. Speed Kai has had a brilliant race out here. He's done a fantastic job in this Grand Prix. Going through into the final stages of the final lap here for Speed Kai in the Haas then. And he's going to come around the final corner then as Gina picks up a penalty. And here comes Speed Kai then across the line then to win the first race of the season then for Team Haas. Then a fantastic result here in Australia then. A fantastic victory here for Team Haas as well then. And what a win. Speed Kai then on his full-time debut then in 100% has got himself a race win under his belt as well. Brilliant stuff indeed then from the Haas driver then. Fantastic from him indeed as well. R2 Beat then a great drive in P2 in the end then. Only 1.4 seconds back in the end as well. Great stuff from him. Fantastic racing indeed from the Aston Martin driver. Then Equaz rounds off the podium places. Then P3 for the Williams team. And great race indeed from Equaz as per usual. Then Gordo P4 after the penalty situation was added on as well. Then Coop P5. In the other Williams car. Good stuff from him. Vessia P6 in the end, it looks like, as New Zealand Cam is going to come across the line now, I think, to finish off his race in P7. And he's got the fastest lap point as well, I believe. So that's good stuff indeed. P7 for the Kick Sauber car. Donald Dons is across the line in P10. He rounds off the top 10 as well. Then here comes Farf and Percy. I think they're going to switch around then on the on the order. Yes, they are then. And good stuff indeed. Then Gina crosses the line, P12 for him. Vintage has soldiered on in this race, and fair play to Vintage as well. He has got himself across the line for P13 then. Well done to Vintage. Good stuff from him. And that is that then for the first race of the season then. Fantastic. Okie dokie then. Well, there we are. Brilliant stuff indeed then. Well done to the podium sitters then. That is the first race done and dusted. Then I'm going to go to bed. And I'm going to die. There we go then. Haas of Speed Kai has won the race. Then R2 beat in P2 and Equaz in the Williams P3 then. Great race indeed then for those three then. Fantastic stuff indeed to start off the season. And there is the podium places as well. So yeah, unfortunately it seemed like the driver of the day poll is not working, says Smithy then, so that is bad news. But we will put a driver of the day in the Discord regardless of that. So there is your classification then for the race. Speed Kai, your race winner then. R2 beaten in P2, Aircraft P3, Gordo P4, Coop P5, Vessia P6, New Zealand Cam P7, Lucas Percy P8, then Farf P9, Don the Dons rounds off the top 10. Ginger Age P11 in the end then. Good race from him after that horror show at the beginning of the race. Ginner then P12, then Vintage P13, Serious Mushroom P14, pit and quit. Kamara Racer pit and quit P15. Kiki crashed at pit entry out of the race in. Gamer pit and quit. Hungry Stars out of the race on lap 2. There is your classification then for the Australian Grand Prix. Pretty much done and dusted. Very simple indeed then. Fantastic race then to open off the season. We will hopefully get some interviews then with the top 3. Or potentially, depending on if they're going to be added to the party. And we can crack on then for the end then of this race. But fantastic stuff indeed then. We'll be back of course in a week's time then. Hopefully I'll be less ill. We're back of course in a week's time then for Japan, then round 2 of the season as well then. So cracking stuff indeed. Not quite sure if anybody's going to be added to the podium interviews party. So if they are here, you must speak out. Nobody's joined me. There we are then. All right then, guys. Well, we'll wrap it up there then. So thank you very much then for the drivers then who have got themselves to the checkered flag. Brilliant job indeed then, as we can get ourselves wrapped up then here for round 1 then of the 100% League. Brilliant stuff from all of you guys who got to the checkered flag then and soldiered on out there as well then. And we'll see you then in a week's time for round 2. Of course, gold coming up here in Australia then on Sunday night then, followed by silver on Monday and bronze on Tuesday before we get to Japan for the 100% League then in next Wednesday as well. So stay tuned to ALR. There's plenty more action coming up then, and we'll see you very soon.